After my Alpha Base video, a lot of people were asking me about sound editing within the Alpha Base. How easy is it actually to program your own sounds? Because if you take a look into forums and other videos, it looks like the Alpha Base is very hard to program and it's cumbersome to put in notes and all of that. But I have to disagree. Actually, the Alpha Base is a breeze to program and you create a lot of muscle memory in just a few minutes after you've tried it out for the first time. So I will show you now how you can program sounds within the Alpha Base, and I think we will focus today on the kick drum because the kick drum is arguably the most important element of electronic dance music, and it's also the most important parameter probably for a groove box or a drum machine. We have those different modes here. We have kit and edit and trick. And if you go to your kit section, then you have all these sounds available down below. Some of them are empty, but as you can hear, I have different sounds loaded into my different instruments here. But let's stick to the kick drum. The main center of attention, of course, is the 4x4 matrix that you have on the Alpha Base, because here we can actually program our sounds. You have those different rows here, and if you turn the encoder, you actually can see that we have an indication on the screen what is going on. We have two pages. We have page A and page B, indicated by the red or the green LED. So green is page A and B is LED red. So A is green, B is red. Very easy to understand. So we have tune, pitch, decay, and harmonics. Tune actually is not what you think it is. It is not the actual tuning of the kick drum. It is a fixed envelope that is reminiscent of a 909 or 808 kick drum, and the tune parameter sets the intensity. And I was a little bit confused at first because I always thought the tune would set the root note of the kick drum, but it's not the tune parameter, it's actually the pitch parameter. So the pitch parameter sets sort of like the root note. And you can hear how fat the Alpha Base is. I mean, hope you can hear that through the speakers. The next parameter is the decay parameter, and that, of course, sets the length of the kick drum. Very straightforward. Next, we have harmonics, and harmonics is for your gabba folks out there. It actually creates overtones that are very, very nice. Harmonics. If we go to the second row, we get attack, pulse, noise, and EQ. And the attack parameter is super, super cool. What you have to understand is the Alpha Base kick drum has several layers. So we have the low end, the body of the kick drum, and we have the attack, which is the initial hit of the kick drum, and that has two elements within that attack parameter. So we have pulse and noise, which are mixed into the attack parameter. So attack sets the overall overall attack. So I have a pulse and a noise. So if I put down the noise, you just hear the pulse. And there's also another parameter that affects the attack, and that is the gate. And gate is on the third row. And if I increase the gate, you're actually widening the phase of the attack. So let me put down the harmonics so you hear it better. So there is the pulse parameter. Pulse is gone. Attack to the maximum, but there is no pulse and no noise, hence nothing is coming through. I put in pulse back in. You hear the pulse parameter, and then there is the noise, of course. So let me put down the pulse, and that is the noise parameter. And noise is actually a parameter that also has a different sister parameter, I would call it, and that is metal noise. And metal noise actually gives you 127 different types of noise. Jürgen Michaelis, who built the Alpha Base, and it was the founder, or is the founder of Jomox, found out that there is something really interesting when he was repairing 909 drum machines. And he actually found that out, and he put it in to his repaired 909s, and it still is in the other instruments as well, and that is the metal noise. So if I go through the metal noise, so 0, nothing is happening. But if I increase now the metal noise, I have different flavors of those initial noises, which of course are determined by the gate parameter as well. And I can create these really nice initial hits. And I can blend that with the pulse parameter. And now we come to the parameter that I love, because that's the EQ. And the EQ is a very nice slope that sort of like sculpts the kick drum, and it decreases the treble, which creates these really nice warm kick drums, but they still retain the punch that I love from the Alpha Base. I hope you can see how easy it is to program, and how you start to create really nice kick drums just with a few parameters. But these parameters are tuned in such a way that you have just a lot of flexibility when it comes to your kick drum. I love it. Actually, especially like the gate parameter, it doesn't look that much, but once you start to use your Alpha Base in your productions, you actually find yourself go back to that those parameters and dial in the kick drum exactly so that it fits right into the mix. And the initial hit of a kick drum just gives you the understanding for the overall track. And that's what will happen with that gate parameter. Just absolutely wonderful. So we have the attack parameter, which consists of pulse and noise, two parameters which can be blended into the attack overall, and there is a gate to increase or decrease the time of the initial hit. If we go to the third row, then we have another parameter which is called compressor. it's not a compressor in the traditional sense that you have a compressor with ratio, threshold, and all of that. The compressor is more of a time variant that helps you tightening up your kick drum if you have the decay parameter set to a specific time. So the compressor will get you to shorter and more pronounced kick drums with longer decays. A lot of flexibility is going on here. Then we have the next, which is the metal noise, and we discussed it already. Different flavors of the metal noise. And then there is the envelope amount. And what you have to understand is there are two pitch envelopes in the Alpha Base Kickdrum. There is the tune, the traditional one that you find in your classic Roland kick drums. And then there is a secondary pitch envelope, which can be determined by the envelope amount. And you will find the attack and the decay parameter on the B page on the second row. So there is the pitch attack and the pitch decay. And this gives you even more flexibility and more control. So that's it. That's the secondary envelope. If we go back to page A, you have now the last row, and that consists of LFO wave, of LFO rate, and LFO intensity, and last but not least, volume. So LFO wave gives you the wave of the pitch envelope. So there is an envelope hardwired to the pitch of your kick drum, which can be determined by the LFO intensity. Let me increase the decay. Honestly, that's the parameter I use the least because I normally do like more traditional kick drums, but whenever I play around with it, it's actually kind of cool. So you can create more of like techno kick drums with crazy effects. Love it. Actually, I have to should use that more. Yeah, it's super cool, super lush. Then there is the volume parameter, which of course sets the volume of the kick drum, but not in a sense of like an overall volume, but more in the sense of the trick that you set. So if I go to the trick mode, you see that I have different tricks placed onto the kick drum track, and there are yellow ones and red ones, and the red ones are the normal ones. And if I hold and press the trigger point, then I get a yellow one or an orange one, which corresponds to the accent, which I find on page B. So I can flick between page A and page B and either set the volume of the red trick, or if I go to page B, I set the accent volume. So I can create these really nice accents for my kick drum track. So if I mute all the other tracks, you can hear what I mean. So we have 2 pages now. So if I go to page B, or to the other bar, sorry, then I have these different accents that I can set, and there's different tricks. And if I would go now, put the volume down and put the accent up, you hear that I increase the accent for those different tricks. So that's it, really. That's, in a short overview, the Kickdrum page. And the Kickdrum is very easy to program. Like I said, if I come back after a long day, I still find myself using it. I actually don't look at those printings, and most of the time not even at the parameters here, because I actually know if I'm on page A, I know where my pitch is, I know where everything is, so I know exactly what I'm doing. So it's really cool. And I hear the kick drum and I know what's going on. So yeah, super, super, super useful stuff. I hope I could show you that the kick drum is actually very easy to program, and it's super, super lush. It's one of my favorite kick drums. I use it quite a lot, and I find myself really playing around with the kick drum quite often because it's such a nice and powerful instrument within the Alpha Base. If you want to know more about the other instruments and how to program them, then just write it down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this was helpful. It was a long video, but it's a video that I wanted to do for a very long time, and the Alpha Base is totally worth it. It's worth the effort, and I think I will try to jam now a little bit and see what I can come up with.